Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
Greetings. You're listening to Guiding Stars Evolutionary Astrology Radio. This is Kristin Fontana, and I'm here with my friend and colleague Rose Marcus from Vancouver, Canada. Welcome back, Rose.
Oh, thanks, Kristin. Always enjoy doing the show with you. It's our chance to have a group hug, you and me.
It is. Cyber hug.
Cyber hug.
All right. Well, we've gathered together today, always toward the end of the month, to shine a light of insight for you for the next 4 weeks ahead. And before we get going today to discuss all these retrogrades and what's coming the end of August and September, Rose and I wanted to remind you all that there is a wonderful conference coming up. If you're interested in learning more about evolutionary astrology, it is only going to be about evolutionary astrology, no other branches. Just the roots of this great work that we are so blessed to be able to teach and help other searching souls with. So that's October 6th through the 8th, the first weekend in October, an online evolutionary astrology conference. So for more information, go to jwgaea.org, or you can email either one of us if you have any questions. So I'm looking forward to that so much.
Fantastic. And what are you speaking on, Kristin?
Oh my goodness. Well, I am speaking on the soul's essential needs, which is looking at the houses 2, 7, and 12, the second house, the 7th house, and the 12th house. And the title of my talk is The Road to Higher Love. Venus is the natural ruler of Taurus and Libra, which rules the 2nd and 7th house, and Neptune rules the 12th house, or the sign of Pisces, which is that energy that we all long to tap into. I would call it the energy of the sea, or the source of all things. So I'm just really going to be showing how people can look at their charts to understand their own soul's essential needs, their needs in relationship to others, but ultimately how they can tune into that higher source, or that unconditional loving current, to allow for a greater sense of wholeness. So that is what my talk is about. What about
Fantastic. And that is really core EA material. And we have Venus so prominent right now from several different transits. And my talk is on transits. So I'm going to cover some of the major transits, that midlife transits that we all do, and talk about all of that. So yeah.
I was the one who told you what you had to talk about, right?
Yes, you did.
Rose, you have to talk about evolutionary transitions. Okay, so this is what Rose and I love the most. We really do. I mean, this is our lane because we love it so much. We love to talk about what's coming for people because we have a lot of fire, the two of us. The fire signs want to know how to move forward.
That's for sure.
I was editing my Starcast and I was like, wow, Kristin, you use that word moving forward quite a bit. You got to start. But honestly, of course, we all want to know what is going on, what was going on in the past that created this feeling of being stuck. Maybe even today you are still feeling stuck. We have so many retrogrades, which is really about looking back into our lives, what has been going on in the past that has led to this moment. And maybe we're feeling a bit like it's Groundhog's Day in one way or another. This Venus retrograde transit's still occurring. And you're right. It is all about, what do I need now? Maybe what you need now is different than what you needed back then, because hopefully we are all evolving and our needs evolve as well. So what do you need in your own life for yourself, and what do you need in relationships? What can you not provide for yourself that you feel like another can offer you? That is Venus retrograde, reflecting upon that, and then actually making choices that are in alignment with these core essential needs. We have till September 3rd, right, to really look at these things while Venus is retrograde.
And yes, and Venus retrograde is about tuning in, right? So we're tuning in a very specific way with any retrograde planet. And when it is Venus and in the sign of Leo, which is the heart and center of being, it's the core, getting down to the core of what your essential needs are, what is best for you, what would be in your highest and best interest. How can you create the moment to set yourself up for the opportunities and the abundance that is your birthright, right? Yeah.
Oh, go on.
Yeah. And this is such a potent transit right now. Venus retrograde, we've talked about it before. It happens only once every 18 months, and it gets to, that transit is about recalibrating here and, getting back to what is essential and true for you. Now, this transit right now is so much more potent because of the recent polarity shift of the nodal axis, the north and south nodes, into Aries and Libra. And so this is the dynamic, again, of what my essential needs are for myself and what my essential needs are in relationship to you, to the circumstances, and so on. And the evaluation process, that tuning in, Venus is a resource archetype. It's about resourcing from within. And it is about tuning in and allowing that process, allowing that discovery process to take shape and form. And as it takes shape and form, you start to resonate with it, you start to vibrate with it, and that is the whole creative source of putting it into action. While Venus is retrograde, we can afford to take a little bit of time to slow down and work that one out, right? A little bit to do that. And it's fascinating. On the 3rd of September, Venus will end its retrograde. And on the 4th of September, Jupiter, which is traveling through the Venus-ruled sign of Taurus, will begin retrograde. And between the 3rd and 4th, as that happens, both planets are in station. Yeah. Both planets are in station. A station is an amplification archetype here. So one is at station, retrograde, about to turn direct, and the other one is at station direct, about to turn retrograde. That is such an potent. Kristin, I haven't looked back to see, has that ever happened again? Jupiter's transit through a sign is once every 12 years. It's going to appear in the same sign. That would be really good, worth researching. I might have to do that after we finish the show.
So, if you think about it, right, like you said, Jupiter is in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, and Venus is retrograde, and they are literally like, I don't know, they're passing the baton or changing of the guards or what have you. But, Venus is so much about, everything that pleases you on earth is Venus. Everything that feels good inside, as a human on earth is Venus. I was speaking about earlier this talk I'm giving, and Neptune is a higher octave of Venus. So that's more eternal meaning and your spiritual walk, etc. But as humans and as souls having a human experience, we all strive to experience more of the beauty here, more that gives back to us. And so, I'm really seeing this Jupiter retrograde as an opportunity for that inner expansion. Now that you know what you need more with the Venus retrograde, what really opens your heart in a Leo way? What is this life purpose about even? How much more can I give to this world? So as Venus in Leo opens your heart to more that you can give to the world, or more of your purpose, more of your passion, more of your special gifts that you can take out of you, bring out of you and share with the world. As Jupiter retrogrades in Taurus, it gives you, it expands your capacity to do that. It allows you to reach in through the inner door to that timeless source and surplus to kind of plug into something. Even though it's Taurus, it's retrograde. So the inner door is always open and you can really reach into that surplus, reach beyond yourself. That is always what is happening with these retrogrades. Beyond yourself, you are not alone. And I think that's what it will remind you, that there's so much there for you to access with that retrograde.
And the Jupiter retrograde will go on from September 4th to the end of the year. And that whole timetable is foundation laying, is what I feel. We've just come out of the Venus retrograde cycle, and now we have Jupiter retrograde in a Venus ruled sign. And so this is very, very, very potent. Venus retrograde itself, I describe it as destiny producing or fate, And when we have retrograde cycles, they are very specific. This Venus retrograde, the magnetic draw, the resonance, the vibrational energy is pinpointing. And so this is a really important chapter in terms of your own soul development, your own evolution with the circumstances of the moment, with the people, the relationships of the moment. So it is a densified timetable from now all the way through the end of the year. And with the karmic axis, the nodal axis in Aries, Libra, and the position of the Mars transit, Mars is just about ready to leave Virgo and move into Libra. We have Libra and Scorpio being emphasized for the rest of the year in the transits, the inner planets, and so on and so forth. This is all experiential, it unfolds as you are experiencing it. Is in every moment you are confronting choice makings here. It's filtering in, it's filling into place that whole process of self-discovery, that whole process of feeling your way along. It's a very, very important time to stand present for yourself and to observe, to feel and to observe. We get very busy in our lives and we get all that kind of chatter and we get bombarded. Retrograde influence, especially Venus retrograde, it is about tuning into yourself, like kind of shutting out a lot of the chatter on the outside so that you can hear inwardly, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was interesting, Venus connects to music, and when it's retrograde, I had this experience. I was sitting at the table with my family and this music was playing on Alexa, playing some similar music when you choose a certain artist and they play similar music. And it's a song I hadn't heard. And I'm not kidding. I don't know, 20 years or something. And I was desperate to find out who's singing this. What's the name of that song again? I had all those emotions coming back, and I couldn't find it for the life of me. The song was almost over. When you're driving in the car, sometimes you're like, what was that song? But anyway, it had a way of just bringing back all the emotions. I remember hearing this song at an outdoor venue, and I was living in Southern California at the time. I remember everything about this night. And then I couldn't find it for 2 weeks. I kept trying I remembered one line. I was Googling, I was doing everything, and it was literally getting in the way of everything, I have to say. But I finally found it on a walk. So this is what happens when the retrograde planets are active, is that when you stop thinking about something, it just shows up. I mean, I wasn't even thinking about that song. I finally gave up. It was such a simple song. It wasn't this, not a lot of lyrics, but it was something like, as the firelight in the night, as the fruit upon the tree, as the wind blows over the plains, so are you to me.
Oh, that's lovely.
It was something like that. And East Mountain South is the name of this duo. It's a man and a woman. They're not partners, but they're fantastic musicians. I had never heard of them before, and I just remember being mesmerized by their music back then. And so I was so excited. I was so excited when it came into me because I started hearing more of the music, and then I was able to find these artists. Of course, East Mountain South is not something, it's not the name of a group that you tend to remember after all these years, right? So for me, though, what it brought back was two things I learned from this. Get out of your head. Stop trying to think about anything. Just like you said, feel your way there. Feel your way back to the music. And in this song, it's all about the things that are it's the wine before the meal. It's the firelight in the night. It's all of the senses. It's the ruby in the setting. It's the fruit upon the tree. It's all the things about being human that activate the senses now. So I think with Venus retrograde in Leo, it really is about sweetening the senses, focusing on the things that you love, not on the things that drive you crazy. All of it, we can all fixate on the things that are driving us crazy, especially now with Mercury retrograde. Try as you might, just try to focus on the things that you love, that sweeten your life, and the simple things. That's what all this Virgo energy is about, Rose. Mars in Virgo, Mercury in Virgo. There's so many things that are within reach that don't cost a penny, right? They're just simple things that really can be priceless for us. So I think it's a return to those things too that are so important. That's so important.
Absolutely. And speaking of Mercury retrograde, which has just started, 23rd of August to the 15th of September in the sign of Virgo. So Mercury is in its natural sign, and we're in the month of Virgo now as well too. Again, these retrogrades, let me just say that there's been so much Neptune going on for people, and so much uncertainty and so much lack of clarity and so much confusion. And I think the stars are really set up for this next month to clue us in, to point us exactly to the information that we need to uncover for this particular point in time, so that we can move past those thresholds and figure it out for ourselves in a better way. So sometimes when things happen unexpectedly, maybe things that are jarring or things that that are painful or in the category of minus, whatever that might be, losses or, those kinds of things, whatever it uncovers, it's an opportunity to get it fixed, to get it resolved, to heal it, to make some kind of improvement. So we must always have courage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Must always have courage to do the work that is necessary, to face it, to confront it, to utilize the teaching moment, the learning of the moment in order to move past it, because that's what we all want to do. We don't want to stay put where it isn't in our best and highest interest. We don't want to stay put in the struggle or the complexity of whatever it is we might be facing, right?
Absolutely. And, I was thinking about all these retrograde planets, but Mars is moving direct. And it was so perplexing to me at first, right? But essentially what that means, because Mars is a planet of action and moving direct and is being in motion, in a forward moving motion. Mars does not like to go backward, but all of these planets are idling and going retrograde. So what that essentially means is by going back, by returning to the past, by really looking at something and feeling through it, you will feel to be moving forward, because there are places within us all that where we might be getting stuck, or we just are refusing to address certain things, but it really requires us to stop, to pause, to return, and then we can be freed up in a Mars in Virgo way. Mars in Virgo is about dealing with the unfun sometimes.
Right.
Dealing with stuff that doesn't feel fantastic. Why does this ache over here? And why is my neck driving me crazy? What kind of stress am I holding here? It's so much more than about the pain in the neck. It's about something emotional. You know it. I know it. We know it. So,
well, in the Mars principle, Mars is how the soul embodies its desires. So Mars is instincts and impulses. And as Mars moves on the 28th of August, Mars will move out of Virgo and into Libra. The soul is programming new instincts and impulses for that action taking. In the sign of Virgo, it is confronting, what needs healing. In Libra, it's confronting that reconciling with self, that reconciling with relationship, evaluating in some kind of new way. Again, Libra, in terms of how I'm showing up in relationship to my world, in relationship to the people in it. Right?
Right. And let's take charge of how you give and receive, right? What things are out of balance.
Right. And Libra is the archetype of feedback. And so that Mars in Libra, maybe you're going to receive that feedback. You're going to feel, whatever it is that you are experiencing now, information comes back to you in some kind of new way. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. We're at a break here, so maybe we'll take a moment and come right back.
We'll be right back.
Find out about Kristin Fontana and get your free weekly astrological forecast on her website, KristinFontana.com. Read articles written by the founder of evolutionary astrology, Jeffrey Wolf Green. Evolutionary astrology is a spiritual perspective astrology from Pluto's point of view, and what a view it is. You can even order a detailed personalized chart that tells you about your past, present, and future. You'll also discover where and when Kristin's upcoming conferences, workshops, and appearances will be on KristinFontana.com. That's Kristin Fontana.com.
I'm William Shatner, and this is Jimmy. Animals like Jimmy are often left behind by people fleeing hurricanes, fires, floods, and earthquakes. These abandoned animals cannot survive on their own. If you must evacuate your home, please never leave an animal behind. If you absolutely cannot take your animal with you, never leave him helplessly chained or caged. Many animals die because they cannot escape fires or rising waters. Animals need your help. Thank you.
Call PETA today, 757-622-PETA.
HealthyLife.net, the positive radio network.
All right, we are back, and I'm here with Rose Marcus, taking a look at the next month ahead, September in particular, 2023. But before we get there, there's a full moon in Pisces on August 30th. It's in the night, so it depends on where you're living. August 30th, 31st, a super full moon in Pisces. Is that correct? It is super, isn't it?
It is super, and according to Richard Knoll, who did a list of things, it is apparently the most super full moon of the year, or the closest.
Wow, super duper, we'll call it then.
So a little bit more punched up in Pisces and Virgo, and it's interesting because before the break, you were talking about Neptune being the higher octave of Venus, so it pulls in that. Pisces, its ruler is Neptune, which is in the sign of Pisces and currently retrograde.
Exactly. Wow. So a super full moon in Pisces, and this is the second super full moon of the month.
Yes. Started and ended. I really felt that this month was a work in progress, that whatever was launched at the beginning of the month when we had that super full moon in Leo Aquarius, and now we have the Pisces Virgo, that it was going to be the entire month of crunching your way through stuff, I think.
So how do you see this? I mean, obviously Pisces is about culminating and healing something coming to a head. I think things that were hidden can be revealed under this. What are your thoughts?
Well, and so let me say that moon will have we have Saturn at 3 degrees Pisces and retrograde, and so the moon is moving between Saturn and on its way to Neptune, which is 26 degrees, and Mercury is retrograde in Virgo. So we have this Mercury-Neptune opposition that doesn't perfect. Mercury is, traveling backwards in its degrees, and it's not going to hit that Neptune until, I've forgotten now, October 2nd. Right. So we've got some time to put in with the Mercury end of things, that processing and, uncovering and so on. But Pisces, I always think of Pisces archetype. It is about attunement, and it is an exposing or revealing archetype here. So it uncovers, it dissolves, especially the moon, just having surpassed that Saturn piece, it dissolves whatever barriers or boundaries or walls or limits, so that you can see what the potential is. Pisces in terms of potential is that which is on brew, which has not yet surfaced, right? It's in that process of surfacing. And the whole Pisces archetype, in terms of, it's a duality archetype, right? In terms of the concept of surrender, relinquish, transcend is what we always talk about, that Pisces archetype. And when you can, relinquish, surrender, and transcend, the projections of, the conditioning patterns, the perceptions of whatever the given reality is of the moment, however that's been shaped. And if you can relinquish that, you can see underneath it of what the, what that budding potential is, that brewing potential is, or what is, again, of highest and ultimate value and meaning. Pisces is the archetype of ultimate, right? Or ultimate ideals, or ultimate attunement to source. We're resourcing here from a much more infinite place.
I was just thinking a lot about the need to surrender to the things that we cannot control. I mean, that's part of it too, with the full moon so close to Saturn. And for all of us, you spoke about earlier, if there's been a loss or something along those lines. And recently during this Venus retrograde, I've talked to a handful of people that are in relationships where the two people are on just different pages. One soul is clearly more evolved than the other. And sometimes you just, okay, I'm moving forward. I don't know about you, but bye-bye. It's time to part ways. So it is about getting real. It is also about surrendering to what you can't control if someone's not ready to go there. Or if there's just something in your life, we can't control what other people do, for example. We can't control a lot of things, but we can do a lot with the inner work and the time that we spend and the emphasis that we place on things. If we can't control it, it really is a time to surrender. And I use the expression, I know this is the name of a book, but falling upward. By surrendering, it can feel like you're falling. I say upward because to me, upward is evolving. You're falling, you're letting go, but you're not going into this abyss. You're actually evolving by surrendering sometime, letting go of the side of the pool, just moving into the deep end and saying, okay, God, here we go. Can really allow you to feel like movement's finally happening. And there's one other thing I wanted to point out. I'm actually staring at this chart as I'm talking to you. Uranus and Mercury Mercury's retrograde now. Uranus is about to be, they're both in earth signs, and it's all about the mind is Mercury, right? And Uranus is that brainstorming, breakthrough, innovative thing that can happen. And really what this means is about trying to come in through another door. If something's not working, you've tried and tried and tried to reach someone maybe, or to let something go. Sometimes it's about coming in through the side door. Both Mercury and Uranus are forming a trine at the full moon. And Uranus, while Mercury's in a wide opposition to Neptune, Uranus is sextiling that. So I see this as an opportunity to change your perspective, or to just rise above something. Like you said, Rose, what would your highest self do? In a sense. I see this also as a breakthrough energy.
And let me also say that on the 28th of August, Uranus stations retrograde. So just a couple of days before that super full moon, providing some opportunity. Again, any retrograde pattern is going to shift the perspective and shift you on to target. You think about the retrogrades. Retrogrades focus very specifically in on whatever information is necessary for you to clue into at any given point in time. And of course, that's quite potent because it's right just a couple of days before the super full moon.
Perfect. Did you say the word targeting?
Targeting,
like
yes.
Something,
yes.
And I would call it, it's like the key. It's the missing key, the missing link that is so Uranus. Oh yeah, I love that.
And that's what I describe, a Virgo Pisces archetype as well too, when it's uncovering, Virgo is about discovering your missing keys, and the whole Virgo end of things is about elimination, right? I mean, we already have Pluto doing that in Capricorn, breakdown of that structural dynamic here. But Virgo is about eliminating it so we can get down to the core. Again, everything's pointing to Rome here, right? In terms of the transits.
Absolutely. Even with Mars in Virgo, I realize that Mars will enter Libra on the 27th, this Sunday, but Mars in Virgo, Mercury in Virgo retrograde, now the Sun in Virgo. It really comes down to choosing to what you energize. You have the choice to choose what you think about. Our thoughts affect our emotions and vice versa. So be very discerning with your thoughts if they're not benefiting you. And I definitely do see this as a time that requires more of our discipline, right? To create better habits for ourselves. And that starts with what we allow ourselves to think about from the moment we wake up.
Right. Exactly. And these transits, when you're focusing in and you keep hearing the repeating loop, ask yourself whether you're stuck there. If you're stuck there, then maybe you should just pull back for a little bit. That's what a retrograde influence is about, is you get off the hamster wheel for a little bit. You get off the hamster wheel for a little bit and you take a look to the left and to the right. You're going to see a heck of a lot more than if you just keep, pounding it.
Yeah. I remember Jeff Green used to talk about retrogrades as they create a safer distance between you and the scene, or you and what was. You can observe what was happening or even what is happening when you pull yourself back, create a space between. It's more, it can feel like a detachment almost. That's a retrograde is a Uranian phenomenon. We can feel more detached if we're watching a movie versus it being our own life. You're observing the scene. It's triggering something in you, but you're not inside of it. So it can create a safer distance so you can make better choices for yourself because you're seeing things from a new vantage point. So, all right, we better go to a break. We'll be right back with Rose Marcus, Guiding Stars.
Find out about Kristin Fontana and get your free weekly astrological forecast on her website, KristinFontana.com. Read articles written by the founder of evolutionary astrology, Jeffrey Wolf Green. Evolutionary astrology is a spiritual perspective astrology from Pluto's point of view, and what a view it is. You can even order a detailed, personalized chart that tells you about your past, present, and future. You'll also discover where and when Kristin's upcoming conferences, workshops, and appearances will be on KristinFontana.com. That's KRISTIN Fontana.com.
Have you ever wondered why you are here on this planet and what the point to all of this is? Evolutionary astrology is a natural science that allows for an understanding of the evolutionary journey of the soul from life to life. Evolutionary astrology provides a vehicle to understand prior life dynamics that have led to the reason and purpose for the life you live. It offers a depth of information and insights about each person that no other type of astrology can provide. As Jeffrey Wolf Green, the founder of evolutionary astrology, says,
for those who wish to unveil the depth of who you actually are, the recommend that you seek out qualified evolutionary astrologers such as Kristin Fontana and other graduated students of the School of Evolutionary Astrology. For those who are considering becoming an astrologer to make it a natural career, I'd recommend that you consider Jeffrey Wolf Green's School of Evolutionary Astrology, for it will assist you in answering and your clients answering a big question. Why am I here? Thanks for listening, and God bless.
Okay, you're stressed. You need a little R&R. Wouldn't going to a spa help? There's all kinds of spas, too. Destination spas, medical spas, day spas, even dental and mobile spas. Where do you find the right spa at the right price? Oh, no, more stress? Well, not anymore. Visit spafinders.com. At spafinders.com, you'll find everything you need to know about spas from around the world. So de-stress. Click on spafinders.com right on our homepage. I'm feeling relaxed already.
Whether you're taking a short trip or traveling across the world, Magellans.com is the world's most trusted source for travel, and they guarantee 100% satisfaction. They have everything you need to make travel just a bit more pleasurable. Who doesn't like that? They have travel alarms, clothing, the best luggage, wallets, everything you need except the ticket. Visit the advertiser page on healthylife.net and click on Magellans now. You will not only see their travel products, but get a free catalog and read articles with tips on how to make your travel easier. Visit the advertiser page and click on Magellans now.
HealthyLife.net, where positive overcomes negative.
All right, we are back. And gosh, we're still in August. I mean, we kind of took a few footsteps into September.
We're going into giving you September, but there's so much to talk about the next week or so, right?
Oh my goodness. Yes,
gosh.
so September 3rd, we have Venus stationing direct in Leo, and actually Jupiter stationed on that day too, but moving retrograde on the 4th in Taurus. What else is coming after that?
Well, there's a lot. I wanted to say something first too, in terms of how that everything is being set up right now. Again, we have the nodal axis moving through the signs. The south node is moving through Libra, and the north node is moving through Aries. The south node is representing, the composite of the past, and the north node is the evolving present. Let me put it that way. How those two are developing right now. And that places added emphasis on whatever Venus is doing as the ruler of the south node, and whatever Mars is doing, because Mars is the ruler of the north node. So whatever the action is with either of those planets, of course, they're very potent right now from so many different positions. But Mars will move into Libra on the 27th of August. And it will be on its approach to the south node. It's in Libra from August 27 to October 11. And so as it's moving forward, it is going to be on a finishing pattern with the south node. So again, it brings up that idea of completion or endings, as you were talking about a little bit earlier. If we're on this jam up, maybe it's time for me to move forward and leave you behind, if that's what the dynamic is. Certain things are going to come to an end. And along with the karmic axis, or the nodal axis being especially emphasized right now, we have the transit of Ceres in the sign of Libra, and Ceres has it has a regenerative archetype influence, like Pluto does, kind of death and rebirth. It is kind of a looking deeper into and karmic recalls. So while it's in Libra and aspecting that south node, that sense of revisiting relationships and circumstances of the past, revisiting an evaluation process of the past and processing that. At the same time, we have Eris, which is a planetary body out there, another one of the goddesses in the sign of Aries, and that is triggering the north node. Eris in Aries, I always say, is a positive catalyst. It's in the sign of Aries for all of us. It's a planetary body that doesn't move much, and I always call it a positive catalyst because Eris in Aries won't let you forget about yourself. It's what I always say, it's the burr in the saddle, that you're saying, what about me? I'm not getting my needs met here. It's me, it's about me, where Libra tends to put other people first, right? What do you want, dear? This is now like, damn it, I want something for myself here. And those two are really chafing to create the necessary friction in the inner and outer reality, so that you don't miss out on the messages of the moment, so that you will, in actuality, hear the inner call, whatever it might be, to making the change. The second part of that whole story is having the courage to initiate, having the courage to stand forward, having the courage to put your own needs first. Libra has a very hard time of being selfish, right? In terms of saying, well, yeah, I'll do it your way, but, I want something here too, right? So it is to color yourself into the picture. And this dynamic is moving forward here, for the month ahead. So know that whatever it is that is caustic, however it is that you are doing battle with yourself, however you might be fighting yourself, maybe there's a message in there too.
Okay. You always come up with these one-liners that just get me. Color yourself in the picture. Yeah. I'm hearing myself echo. Color yourself into the picture. That is just so beautifully said, just for that Libran energy. And one of the things that I notice most of September, it progressively occurs over time, is that this Mars in Libra is progressively sextiling Venus and Leo. Because Venus had stopped and it's taking time to pick up speed again, it's moving toward, or Mars is moving then toward this sextile, because Venus is moving slower, throughout almost the entirety of September and into early October. What that is like a tuning fork energy, right? That is getting your heart in working harmony with another. That can happen. Or with yourself first, hopefully, and then with another. What do you think about that transit?
Oh, yeah. And, you and I like sextiles, right? Because they're creative opportunities. They're sitting there and they're just, right there for you to utilize. But of course, it's a resource that just sits there. And if you want to take full advantage of it, you have to act, right? And this is where that idea of free will comes in. It's up to you. I'm going to, the stars are going to give you the gifts, but it's up to you to make full use out of them.
Okay. So, right. So you're feeling good. You're feeling groovy. The relationship is going well. And you have this sextile happening. It's a 60-degree angle. And it's a little bit like driving on the freeway and seeing your exit well in advance and thinking, oh, we should pull off and take a hike over here and just explore this new area. I mean, you can keep driving on that freeway with the rest of the world, or you can say, hey, partner, what do you think about going on a little adventure? It just brings more energy, more connection. That's the effort that's required. You have to make the choice to see too if they're on board to do this. And it is so important that you brought that up, because it can also create a laziness. We're driving the fast lane. Do we really want to pull off? And maybe we're going to get cold, or maybe it's going to be hot, or do I have the right shoes? I mean, just do it. It's such an opportunity, like you said, for just, it's a creative energy. It's a loving energy. It's a bonding energy. And, it's definitely something that you want to be able to take advantage of.
Well, and that sextile is operational with all of this push that all the stars are doing, the Mercury retrograde and, the super full moon in Virgo Pisces. And so, all of the chafing that I just talked about with the Ceres and Eris, like all these things is setting up this dynamic for this sextile to give you the impetus to say, why don't we turn off? I mean, just when you said that was beautiful, I was just thinking of two people in the car going, oh, adventure. as opposed to asleep at the wheel. Let's just get to destination, right? Just think about that for a moment. Yeah. I was trying to find my notes here. It is on the 8th of September that Saturn is with the South Node at a coming new phase with that South Node. So we're completing to September 8th. And on the 4th of September, Ceres will come new phase with the South Node as well too. So both of those points are triggering to kind of start a new page. Let me put it that way. On the 6th of September, Mercury retrograde and the Sun will conjoin. That's an inferior conjunction. That's always the midpoint peak of a retrograde cycle. So again, as we come through this first of the month here, by the 6th, we are moving into a next page for that processing of discerning, eliminating, getting to work on the things that are necessary to fill in the missing blanks and so on. And I also want to say that Mercury and Jupiter are forming a trine on the 4th, right? And it is the second of 3 alignments of Mercury and Jupiter. The first one was August 9. Yeah, just before the midpoint peak of Venus and the Sun on the 13th, right? So just before is the first hit of Mercury and Jupiter in trine. The second one is September 4th while Mercury is in retrograde, and that is the exact day that Jupiter goes retrograde, which isn't that interesting. And then on the 25th, on the 25th of September, Mercury will be direct and Jupiter will be retrograde. That's the triple alignment, because of the retrograde patterns of these planets meeting up 3 times. So we have a work in progress. It started in the middle of August. It takes us all the way to the end of September. And we love that Jupiter Mercury trine. Yeah.
Right. We have more to say about that, but we have to hop to our final break. We'll be right back.
Find out about Kristin Fontana and get your free weekly astrological forecast on her website, KristinFontana.com. Read articles written by the founder of evolutionary astrology, Jeffrey Wolf Green. Evolutionary astrology is a spiritual perspective astrology from Pluto's point of view, and what a view it is. You can even order a detailed personalized chart that tells you about your past, present, and future. You'll also discover where and when Kristin's upcoming conferences, workshops, and appearances will be on KristinFontana.com. That's KRISTIN Fontana.com.
If you're like the 8 out of 10 women that say finding jeans that fit is a problem, well, your problem is solved. Lee Jeans has done extensive research, and they have jeans that fit. There's even an online Lee Fit Finder so you can find the right fit for you. Imagine jeans that instantly slim you with a custom fit and no gap waistband. And guys, kids, Lee has jeans for you too. Click through to Lee's Jeans on the HealthyLife.net advertiser page and get what fits.
Take one step towards spirit. Spirit will take 1,000 steps toward you. Come explore the world of evolutionary astrology with Rose Marcus. Rose Marcus is well known for her heartfelt passion, sensitive counseling skills, and dedication to helping others. You can now study evolutionary astrology from the comfort of your own home through live teleconference classes with Rose. To register for the next Evolutionary Astrology School, to read your in-depth monthly horoscope, or to book a private astrology with Rose Marcus, please visit her website, www.rosemarcus.com.
HealthyLife.net, the positive radio network.
All right, we have returned, and just before the break, Rose was talking about Jupiter and Mercury, the second of 3 trines. We love them. Jupiter and Mercury are considered brothers in astrology, so Jupiter's a higher octave of Mercury, and when these two align, the left brain and the right brain can really be on the same page. kind of what happened to me when I was taking my hike, and out of nowhere, this song showed up in my brain. That was so wonderful. So they can't, really think the ideas can be coming in pretty quickly. We can articulate ourselves well. I think it's a wonderful time to have those difficult conversations. One of the things that we were talking about with this sextile between Mars and Venus, I see at the same time during the month of September, people are going to be, others might be more receptive to what you're wanting to say and open and hopefully less reactive, more responsive. But it is a great time to just deal with the stuff you haven't been dealing with or wanting to deal with. I think that that's a real seamless energy. On that day, September 4th is Labor Day in the U.S. Jupiter and the moon will be conjunct, which is always a great time for getting outside and having fun with family and, being out on a trail or what have you. But also just, just nice to have a day off if you're going to take one. And feeling a little bit more buoyant, with that energy and feeling more of the potential of what can happen. Astrology speaks to potentialities, not absolutes, but when we are feeling better within ourselves emotionally, we feel more of our potential or more of the potential of what can happen in a space, in a relationship with your purpose, on your path. And there's that Jupiterian energy, ruler for Sag. There's nothing like that feeling of there's nothing I can't do, right? That's what it will offer you. Potential.
Well, I also think, Mercury's in the sign of Virgo, and Jupiter is always a planet of increase. And I think that a little can go a long way. And a small step could translate into a big leap. Something substantial. Jupiter in Taurus, it's substantial. It's worthwhile. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. Yeah, it kind of too reminds me of if you think you have to replace an entire thing, but it's requiring just a little ribbon of energy over here. It's like, if you think about things breaking down during a Mercury retrograde and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I have to replace, an appliance, and someone comes in and says, oh, it's just one tweak here and it just saved you a bunch of money. That's, a really practical thing. But when you're looking at all this Taurus energy too, it can feel like $1 million in the moment. Oh my goodness, I don't have to be without my refrigerator. I just need to fix this one thing. And so I think that, paying attention to, to the little things. Even in your body, if you're not getting enough sleep or if you're not getting enough nutrition and really taking care of yourself, and then all of a sudden really feeling the benefits on the other side of that. So there's practical things happening. There's things happening on a health level, body level, everything under the sun, under these retrogrades.
Yeah, I think that that's fabulous. So we're under that. And the triple pass, the beginning of it opens it up, and the second portion of it is processing, and the third is result, right? So again, we're working our way through all of that. I wanted to also bring up that on the 10th and 11th, the 11th of September, Venus which is still in the sign of Leo, joins forces with Juno, which is currently in the sign of Leo as well too. And Juno is the contract asteroid. It is the marriage asteroid, talks about those kinds of things. But with Juno contract, it's the covenants and contracts and promises that you make to yourself. And this is this Venus cycle. Venus in Leo is getting down to, as we started today's show, the heart and center, the core of whatever it is that is in your highest and best interests. And it is fabulous that we have this Venus, Juno, and the transing moon at the same time moving through the sign of Leo. So you might see how you are processing about that period of time. And it is coming to some kind of agreement with yourself of, all this point here of working through this Venus retrograde cycle. And I'm now far enough along in the experiential track that I can make some some solid gains here is what I think on that, in terms of clarity, in terms of, I think I'm going to move forward in this way instead of that way, or I think that this is worthwhile for me rather than that. So I just wanted to point that one out as we come through the month ahead.
Adjustments. That's what Virgo is all about as well, making those adjustments. And there's a new moon in Virgo on September 14th. Really, Mercury's essentially stopped on 14th and the 15th of the ruler of Virgo, in the middle of the month. And it's trining Uranus. There you have it. I like that new moon. I don't know about you, Rose, but I like that one.
Yeah.
Does that look good to you?
Yeah, 21 degree Virgo, and Uranus is hovering around 22, 23 degrees, so it's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that can be an unexpected breakthrough, an unexpected surprise that it just feels emotionally uplifting in some way. It can be too that you're feeling just a new wind in your sails. Maybe you're getting to work on something and the kids are back to school and you've got more time all of a sudden. And, and I wanted to ask you too, about these 3 Jupiter Mercury trines, the third being the 25th of September. Would you agree that if you've made the right adjustments during these Mercury retrogrades or had the conversations, that third trine will show you the results or the benefit of those changes, like immediately, like, here's your reward, Rose.
Exactly. And that reward might be fruition or being at the starting gate. It can be either, it's like, finally I'm ready to move forward. Or, here is the fruits of my labor throughout this 2-monther that we've been on.
Well, life is a process, right? No such thing as perfection. We're always working on ourselves, and that's a beauty of just evolving and enjoying the moment and understanding that there'll always be more to go and to grow. But I think when we can experience our own growth and experience the change, that is so motivating and so inspiring, especially looking like at a Jupiter Mercury trine. If you're, working on a new fitness regimen or a health program and you're starting to exercise every day and maybe, you reach the 25th of September and you're like, I'm going to go a little further today. I'm feeling more energetic and everything's just fitting better and feeling better and you're just feeling better in your own skin. Really is just the most encouraging thing to feel, to want to continue on that same healthier path. So go ahead and make these choices today and write a little note on September 25th and see how you're feeling when you get there. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What I'm going to add to my list now.
Well, I have to say, with this Mercury stationing here, I couldn't believe my office has been a tornado all this time, and all of a sudden I got it cleaned up. And it feels so good to get the clutter out of the way.
That is so true. It's so much new energy. Yeah. One little extra thing too before we close. One of my favorite evolutionary astrology teachings with the retrogrades, Uranus retrograde, which is the higher octave of Mercury. These are long-term memories long ago, or maybe things and ingenious ideas you might have had long ago. What happens when Uranus is retrograde is those ideas keep surfacing, the same one over and over, to remind you. It's like a knock at the door. Remember, Rose, this is what your soul is feeling ready to take on again. And it's the repeating themes, RE, of Uranus, the things that are held deep in the subconscious that are coming up to the surface. It says, it's time. This is the thing to work on now. This is the thing to take a hold of and to go after. So I love that teaching because themes will repeat. So pay attention.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, it was wonderful to gather with you again. We will be back the end of September to one more show before the big conference. Guys, check out the website, JWGAEA, if you want to, take advantage of this wonderful gathering we're going to have with all of us again, the first weekend of October. Okay. Until next time, namaste, my friend, and to you all.